My beloved child, listen closely as I speak to you from the depth of eternity, from the place where truth cannot be hidden and justice cannot be delayed, because what you are sensing in your spirit is real, and what you have endured was not overlooked, and what was broken was precious to me, and now the weight of that breaking has returned to the one who caused it. You wondered how someone so powerful could move against you without consequence, how influence could silence truth, how authority could crush innocence, and how your tears seemed unseen while they walked freely, but hear me now, nothing that touched what I sealed goes unpaid, and nothing that shattered what I protected escapes my hand. A powerful person is paying a huge price for breaking what belonged to you, for tearing apart what I covered, for disrespecting what I ordained, and the cost is rising even as they pretend strength, even as they smile in public, even as they hold their position, because loss has already entered places money cannot reach. They broke your trust thinking it was small, they broke your peace thinking it was replaceable, they broke your destiny connection thinking it was temporary, but they did not understand that what they broke was woven by me, guarded by me, and marked by my breath, and that is why the payment is severe. You did not need to fight them, you did not need to expose them, you did not need to defend yourself loudly, because heaven recorded every detail, every hidden move, every private conversation, every manipulation, every deliberate wound, and now those records are speaking on your behalf. They are losing things they cannot explain, influence that once flowed now resists them, favor that once followed now delays them, alliances that once protected them are quietly dissolving, and they do not understand why pressure surrounds them from every side. What they broke in your life created a fracture in theirs, and it is spreading slowly, deliberately, precisely, because I do not rush justice, I perfect it, and I allow the lesson to be deep enough that it is never repeated. You blamed yourself for too long, wondering if you were weak, if you were naive, if you trusted too deeply, but I tell you now, your heart was not the problem, your loyalty was not the mistake, your love was not foolish, it was holy, and that is why the offense was costly. They thought power placed them above consequence, they thought reputation would shield them, they thought their name would intimidate silence, but there is no rank that outruns me, no title that outshines me, and no influence that outweighs my justice. You felt discarded, but I was preserving you, you felt delayed, but I was repositioning you, you felt broken, but I was protecting what remained pure, because if you had stayed connected to what they corrupted, the damage would have been far greater. Now hear this clearly, what they are paying is not revenge, it is correction, it is alignment, it is the universe responding to imbalance, and it is my hand restoring order where arrogance tried to rule. They broke your future access, but I opened new doors, they spoke against your name, but I secured your identity, they attempted to control your path, but I redirected your steps into territory they will never reach. You do not see everything yet, because I shield you from the noise of their collapse, but cracks are forming, stress is multiplying, fear is surfacing, and the confidence they once displayed is now an act performed for survival. The price they are paying touches their sleep, touches their peace, touches their relationships, touches their health, touches their clarity, because when someone violates what I protect, I remove the covering they took for granted. They thought you were alone, but you were accompanied by heaven, they thought you were powerless, but you were protected by purpose, they thought they won, but they only activated a judgment they cannot escape. You asked me why it took so long, why days turned into nights, why months felt heavy, why silence stretched painfully, and I tell you now, I was allowing the full measure to be reached, because partial accountability does not produce transformation. The breaking they caused forced you into growth, forced you into discernment, forced you into spiritual strength you did not know you carried, and now you stand wiser, steadier, and no longer accessible to the same manipulation. They are paying because they underestimated the value of your soul, because they treated sacred connection as disposable, because they believed control was more important than honor, and that miscalculation is costing them everything internally. You do not need to celebrate their loss, you do not need to watch their fall, you do not need to carry bitterness, because justice does not require your participation, only your release. I am restoring what was broken in you differently than before, stronger than before, clearer than before, because the version of you that rises now cannot be shaken by the same forces. They are learning that power without integrity is fragile, that authority without compassion collapses, that dominance without truth rots from within, and this lesson will mark them permanently. You were never meant to stay where you were hurt, you were meant to pass through it, carry the wisdom forward, and leave the consequences behind in my hands. The price they pay will not look dramatic at first, but it will be lasting, because some losses are silent, some punishments are invisible, and some judgments unfold slowly until they are undeniable. You will notice changes without seeking them, you will hear truths without asking, you will see confirmation without searching, because I am making it clear to your spirit that you were not wrong, you were not crazy, and you were not abandoned. They broke something sacred, and sacred things demand accountability, not because I am cruel, but because order must be restored, and value must be honored. You are stepping into a season where peace replaces confusion, where stability replaces chaos, where clarity replaces self-doubt, and this is happening because the interference has been removed. What they attempted to control, I have reclaimed, what they attempted to destroy, I have refined, what they attempted to silence, I have amplified through your growth. You will not carry this wound into your future, because I am closing it with understanding, sealing it with strength, and healing it with truth. Their payment continues even as your restoration begins, and the contrast will be evident, because when I move, separation becomes clear. Stay soft, stay discerning, stay grounded in who I say you are, because this chapter is ending, and the lesson has been recorded in eternity. You are protected, you are seen, you are restored, and nothing broken by human hands can cancel what I have written over your life. And as this truth settles into your spirit, know that this is only the beginning of what I am returning to you. What you are entering now is not loud, not rushed, not chaotic, but it is heavy with meaning, because when I begin to rebalance what was unjust, I do it in ways that reshape lives quietly, deeply, and permanently, and this is why you feel a strange calm mixed with awe rising inside you. The powerful person who broke what was yours is realizing that strength without my covering feels hollow, that control without my approval feels exhausting, and that authority without righteousness begins to collapse under its own weight, even if no one else sees it yet. They replay moments in their mind that they once dismissed, words they once twisted, decisions they once justified, because when truth awakens, it does not shout, it whispers until the soul cannot ignore it anymore. You were never meant to beg for fairness, because fairness belongs to me, and when I step in, I do not negotiate with pride, I dismantle it, piece by piece, thought by thought, illusion by illusion. What they touched in your life carried purpose, and purpose carries consequence when violated, because destiny is not an object to be handled carelessly, it is a living assignment protected by heaven. You wondered if walking away meant losing, but walking away saved you from becoming entangled in consequences that were never yours to carry, and now you see that distance was mercy disguised as loss. They are paying in ways that cannot be posted, announced, or defended, because internal reckoning has begun, and that kind of cost follows a person everywhere they go. Their confidence no longer feels steady, their voice no longer feels sure, their decisions no longer feel clear, because when someone breaks what I bless, clarity leaves before collapse arrives. You, on the other hand, are beginning to breathe differently, think differently, and trust differently, because separation has restored your alignment. I am not punishing them to elevate you, I am correcting them to restore balance, and elevating you because you endured without becoming bitter. The breaking you survived refined your discernment, and now you recognize energy before words, intention before action, truth before promise, and this awareness will protect you for the rest of your journey. They tried to rewrite the story to favor themselves, but truth does not need defense, it waits, and when the time is right, it stands on its own. What they are losing now are things they thought were guaranteed, because nothing is guaranteed when integrity is missing. You were faithful in silence, patient in confusion, and gentle even when wounded, and this posture positioned you for restoration that cannot be manipulated by others. Their fall is not sudden, it is strategic, because I allow them to feel every step of distance from peace, so the lesson reaches the core of who they are. You may sense moments where their energy feels distant, weakened, or unsettled, and that is because the authority they misused is being stripped layer by layer. I am teaching you that not every battle requires your voice, and not every injustice requires your reaction, because my intervention is more precise than any human response. The future you are stepping into will not require you to explain yourself to those who misunderstood you, because alignment will speak louder than words. They underestimated your resilience because they mistook your kindness for weakness, but kindness rooted in truth is unbreakable. You are being restored with wisdom, not resentment, and with clarity, not confusion, because I do not return you to the same version of yourself that was hurt. What was broken forced you to see clearly, forced you to choose yourself, forced you to trust me beyond human validation, and this growth is irreversible. They are learning that power borrowed from manipulation always expires, while strength built on truth multiplies. Do not look back searching for closure, because closure is already forming within you as understanding replaces pain. I am closing doors they once used to reach you, and opening paths they will never access, because separation is now protection. The weight they feel is not your responsibility, the pressure they face is not your concern, and the outcome they endure is not yours to manage. You are free from needing to see justice happen visibly, because peace has already settled where chaos once lived. What they broke created an echo in the spirit realm, and that echo has returned to them carrying lessons they cannot avoid. I am restoring your sense of safety, your trust in yourself, and your ability to love without fear, because fear was never meant to lead you. The next connections you form will feel different, calmer, safer, clearer, because you no longer tolerate what drains you. They are realizing too late that access to you was a privilege, not a right, and that losing that access has altered their trajectory. You did not lose anything of value by letting go, because what was truly yours cannot be taken, only delayed. I am teaching you to recognize when something ends not because you failed, but because it fulfilled its purpose. Their payment continues, not to satisfy vengeance, but to establish understanding, because understanding changes behavior. You are stepping into a season where your voice is steady, your heart is guarded, and your path is clear, because confusion no longer has permission. What broke did not destroy you, it revealed you, and what was revealed is stronger than before. You are no longer asking why, because you now see where you are going, and where you are going does not require answers from the past. They will remember you at moments they least expect, not with dominance, but with regret, because truth leaves a mark. I am sealing this chapter gently, without noise, without drama, without reopening wounds, because healing does not need spectacle. Trust the calm you feel, trust the clarity you sense, trust the peace that is growing, because these are signs of alignment. The price has been paid, the lesson has been delivered, and your restoration is underway, even if it unfolds quietly. And as you continue forward, know that nothing broken behind you can reach what is being built ahead of you. Now you stand at the edge of understanding, where pain no longer controls your memory, and clarity no longer frightens your heart, because what once confused you has now been framed by truth, and truth brings rest where questions once lived. The powerful person who broke what was yours can no longer escape the weight of what they did, because time has removed distractions, and silence has amplified consequence, and the noise they used to hide behind has faded. They feel the loss in moments when no one is watching, when applause ends, when authority pauses, when night settles in, because consequences often speak loudest when the world goes quiet. You, however, are learning how peace feels without tension attached to it, how rest feels without fear following it, and how joy feels without the need to explain yourself. I did not rush this process because deep wounds require precise healing, and rushed justice rarely produces lasting change. What they broke forced you to release illusions, forced you to surrender expectations, and forced you to trust me in ways comfort never could. They thought breaking you would elevate them, but breaking what I protect always lowers the one who strikes it. You are no longer looking over your shoulder, because the season of being pursued by confusion has ended. They carry the memory of what they destroyed, and memory becomes a teacher when pride no longer blocks the lesson. You were protected from becoming hardened, because hardness would have stolen the tenderness that makes you powerful. I allowed you to feel the loss fully so you would never mistake attachment for purpose again. They are discovering that power does not heal insecurity, and control does not quiet guilt. You are discovering that freedom is lighter than revenge, and peace is stronger than explanation. What they face now is not public humiliation, but private reckoning, and that is where true change begins. You were released so your destiny would not be delayed any further. They remain where they are, surrounded by what they chose, while you move forward into what I designed. You are no longer asking me to fix what hurt you, because you now see it could not come with you. What was broken acted as a door closing, not as a life ending. They thought they could return later and reclaim access, but some doors close forever once truth is revealed. You are not cold, you are clear, and clarity protects what compassion once exposed. I am teaching you how to love without losing yourself, how to give without draining yourself, and how to trust without surrendering discernment. They are paying because they crossed a boundary heaven marked clearly. You are being rewarded because you honored a boundary even when it cost you emotionally. The difference between you and them is not power, it is posture. You stayed humble, even when wronged, and humility attracts restoration. They stayed entitled, even when warned, and entitlement invites collapse. You no longer seek validation from those who misunderstood you, because identity rooted in me does not require approval. They are learning that breaking sacred things invites sacred consequences. You are learning that letting go creates space for miracles. What comes next for you will feel earned, not because you fought harder, but because you endured faithfully. They will watch from a distance, unable to interfere, unable to re-enter, unable to control. You will feel moments of gratitude replacing resentment, because understanding has softened the memory. I am not returning you to who you were, because who you were survived something that reshaped you. You now carry wisdom that cannot be taught, only lived. They carry lessons they resisted until loss forced them to listen. You are moving into alignment where your energy is protected, your time is honored, and your worth is unquestioned. They remain wrestling with what they broke, because unresolved actions demand attention. You are no longer responsible for teaching them anything. Your responsibility now is to live freely, love wisely, and walk confidently. The chapter has closed, not with anger, but with authority. What was broken behind you no longer defines you. What is ahead of you has been prepared carefully, patiently, intentionally. I am with you as you step forward, not looking back, not second-guessing, not shrinking. Justice has spoken. Peace has settled. And your path is clear. There is a quiet strength settling over you now, the kind that does not announce itself, the kind that does not need approval, the kind that stands steady even when no one is watching, because you have crossed from survival into authority, and this authority was born through what was broken. The one who shattered what was yours still feels the echo of that decision, because consequences do not always arrive as punishment, sometimes they arrive as absence, as emptiness, as a silence that cannot be filled no matter how loud the world becomes. You are no longer tied to their awareness, no longer sensitive to their movements, no longer affected by their presence or absence, because freedom has completed its work inside you. I allowed time to separate you so you could see clearly without emotional fog, because clarity is impossible when wounds are fresh and attachment is active. They believed breaking what you held would weaken you, but it activated a strength they cannot imitate, because it was forged in surrender, not control. You now move with discernment instead of fear, with wisdom instead of urgency, and with peace instead of pressure. They move with caution now, because when someone violates what is sacred, they carry uncertainty into every future decision. You carry certainty, because you learn that what is meant for you does not require force, manipulation, or compromise. I am teaching you the difference between effort and alignment, between struggle and resistance, between love and attachment. What they broke revealed who they truly were beneath influence, and what you endured revealed who you truly are beneath pressure. You do not need to prove anything anymore, because proof is only required when identity is unstable. They seek reassurance constantly, because guilt erodes confidence slowly, even in the powerful. You stand grounded, because innocence has a stability that no amount of power can replicate. I did not expose them publicly because public exposure is not always the deepest justice. Private reckoning reshapes character, while public shame often hardens it. You are being healed in layers, not all at once, because lasting healing requires patience and gentleness. Some days you will remember without pain, some days you will remember with gratitude, and some days you will forget entirely, because healing changes memory itself. They will remember with weight, because unresolved actions linger until they are acknowledged. You no longer replay conversations searching for understanding, because understanding has already arrived. What once felt like rejection now feels like redirection, and redirection has placed you on a path that feels lighter and more honest. You are not afraid to trust again, but you are wiser about where you place your heart. I am restoring your confidence in your intuition, because it warned you before words confirmed what was happening. They ignored their conscience when it spoke softly, and now it speaks loudly. You listened to discomfort even when you did not understand it, and that saved you from deeper damage. You are stepping into relationships and opportunities that recognize your value without testing your limits. They are facing environments that mirror the chaos they created, because energy returns to its source. I am reminding you that walking away was not weakness, it was obedience to your inner knowing. You honored yourself when it would have been easier to abandon yourself, and that honor is now returning to you multiplied. They lost access not because you shut them out, but because truth closed the door. You did not need revenge, because peace has done a deeper work than retaliation ever could. Your presence now carries calm instead of tension, and people will feel safe around you without knowing why. This is the fruit of choosing integrity over attachment, and clarity over comfort. They are learning that power fades, but character follows a person everywhere. You are learning that being true to yourself is the greatest protection you will ever have. I am preparing you for moments where your past no longer feels relevant to your present, because growth has created distance. You will no longer shrink to make others comfortable, because you know what it cost you to stay silent before. They will hesitate where they once acted boldly, because consequence has introduced caution. You will move confidently where you once hesitated, because healing has removed fear. What is coming to you will feel natural, not forced, peaceful, not stressful, aligned, not confusing. I am guiding you into spaces where your worth is not questioned, your boundaries are respected, and your voice is valued. They will remain behind, not as enemies, but as reminders of what happens when power is used without honor. You carry the lesson forward without carrying the weight. The breaking did not end you, it elevated you. And now, you walk on, whole, steady, and protected, knowing that nothing meant to harm you was ever stronger than what I placed within you.